to Transfabulous. My name is Sasja Sÿdek, and I am the co-founder of Trans Sisters United, Trans Pride March Melbourne, a board member of Transfemme to fight violence against trans women, and also that familiar voice at Clearing the Air at 3CR Radio. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge that this event and all the work that we undertake as crew happens on the stolen land. We pay our respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. We also would like to extend our respect to our trans elders past and present. Today, I have a fabulous, trans-fabulous Georgie Yovanovic. Georgie is a co-identified as trans intersex femme, non-binary, uses pronouns she, her. She is currently a board member for Zoe Belle Gender Collective and advocate working on Transfemme resource, fighting violence against trans women. Miss Georgie was an LGB Trans-Intersex advocate for Sistergirls and Brotherboys in Alice Springs, Northern Territory. She is a member of Intersex Human Rights Association and was a working member of Darlington Statement, ACON LGBTI Aged Care Project, National LGBTI Health Alliance, for Mental Health Project, Northern Territory, AIDS and Hepatitis Council, and Disability Service. That is a mouthful, Georgie. Welcome.
That is so much.
Yeah.
I forget myself.
That's why you're part of the Transfabulous series.
Thank you.
Because
very
all
much.
this work that you have done in the past. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like to know the work that you've been doing for the Sistergirls and the Brotherboys in Northern Territory. Can you tell a little bit about that, please?
That was such a wonderful time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the first time I actually broke out of my general welfare into working with the LGBTI community and becoming a trans intersex advocate, star lady of course. So we pulled the group together, and it was amazing to be able to work for the first time in my life openly with the Indigenous people of this land and country, and meeting the Sistergirls and Brotherboys for the first time as well was pretty amazing as well. So we actually did lots of groundbreaking work through the community, especially with medical, affirmation, hospitals, clinicians, and general delivering training to health organisation, the AIDS Council, ACON, whoever else. So, and a fabulous queer community that just put on parties and fundraisers for the promoting the queer community as well.
Yeah, and this happened in Alice Springs?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay, I've actually never been there.
It's an amazing place.
So originally you're from Melbourne here in Naarm, yeah?
Yes, I grew up
And
here.
so what take you there to Alice Springs?
An adventure.
Of course.
Darling, an adventure. A road trip.
Okay, so you drove here to the Alice Springs?
Yeah, in my van.
Alright, okay.
I'm a tough queen.
Yes, of course, we know that.
We also forget, with a lot of trans women, it's about appearances, and there's a lot more to us
Definitely.
than that,
Yes.
of course. And so I got myself a van, decked it out, jumped in and hit the road and landed in Alice.
So was there a planning?
No,
So
not
it
at
was
all.
like you woke up and said, I'm going to Alice Springs.
Yeah, I'm done with Melbourne.
Yes.
I've done my time.
Yeah.
I was with family, looking after my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was my time to travel. So, and that's where I was led.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's me. That's what I do.
And that's how you met all the sister girls in Alice Springs.
Yeah, the Sistergirls and Brotherboys.
Brotherboys, yeah.
And there's a massive queer community up there of all
Oh
sorts of
wow,
people.
I didn't know that.
No,
Yeah.
neither did I.
Because
Until I got
I've
there.
been to the TV Islands, that was 2020. So I met up with the sister girls and the brother boys. You know what? They are no different. They just fabulous, just like us.
Of course they are.
Yeah, of course
Of
there
course
is
they are.
struggles like hormones and medical stuff and access to GP that knows about transgender people.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing with Alice Springs, especially there. I mean, we're doing okay Melbourne and Sydney and the major cities.
We have the privileges here.
We certainly do.
Yeah.
Very privileged here in comparison to Alice Springs. And that's what made it so iconic.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt so privileged when I was asked to become an advocate as well with the group. And so, because there's a lack of services for everybody in general, but especially the Indigenous crew. And so we worked hard and long. Yeah. And had a great time doing it as well.
Yeah, yeah. And
Transfabulous.
Transfabulous.
Always.
Yeah. And they have a festival too, right, over there. I've seen some photos that you've been on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of the working committee for the first Pride in Alice Springs, in NT. Being part of instigating new movements as well. And it's like Alice Springs was still catching up to the rest of the country. And so, and there are amazing events like anywhere else like we have here now. Yeah. And they're just growing and getting bigger and bigger.
Can I ask a question? You know, like I went with Transistors United, me and my co-founder went up to Tiwi Islands, and a lot of Sistergirls and Brotherboys keep saying like, you know, they need more access to all these things. Don't you think organizations, like big organizations, mainstream organizations, especially here, could actually help them out?
Definitely. And that's what we're lacking across the board. It's like we are not co-creating and co-founding as we should. And especially the political system, the medical system. And that's part of the what we help to achieve and instigate in Alice Springs with the group Sisters, Brothers NT. It's because the lack of services, and again with Tiwi Island, they don't get a look in.
Of course, it's isolated.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So we worked with a lot of Indigenous people with coming from the Tiwi Islands as well, like Crystal. Yes. And
Nicole. Yes. I saw photos, Nicole.
Yeah. So there was quite a few. And so we would organise fundraisers and do whatever we could, and resources. Yes. And so we brought help to bring people over to Alice to give it a voice and a face.
You're saying people from like the mainstream organisation that you brought to Alice Springs?
Yeah, with everyone.
Everyone, okay. Anyone that offers.
Wherever we could get money, with whatever we could organise and wrangle at the time. Yeah. We did. But we still have
support.
Yes, and we're still in touch. Yeah. You know, and we maintain that voice between us all as one community, and not let the politics take us away from that as well, which it does. It doesn't really support the trans or brother boy sister boy community as it should.
Speaking about Zoe Belle, Zoe Belle is not as well known for some gender diverse people, especially transgender in Victoria. So can you tell us a little bit more about your involvement with Zoe Belle Collective?
So Star Lady and I left Alice Springs around the same time, and again by chance.
Another Transfabulous.
Exactly, Transfabulous Star Lady. Yeah. And so when we got back to Melbourne, she got herself the job with Zoe Belle, and then I followed to look after my mother, family stuff, and then we actually took up the board. Organisation was going to fold, and so we got a group of trans women together to take over the existing corporation business and become board members, and we've been running now in such a fabulous way for the last about 6 years as well. And of course Star Lady and the crew do amazing work here in Melbourne. They deliver educational training around trans issues as well.
Especially violence, family violence.
Domestic violence, systemic issues with the system, delivering educational training as well, going out to country and regional Victoria, delivering training there, hooking up with everyone, networking. We love to network. So I don't think there isn't anything we don't really do.
I know. I only been involved with the project Transfemme, like maybe just less than a year, and I think it feels like I've been doing for years. And then when I get involved with Transfemme, I thought this is amazing resource because I used to be a serial dater. And you know, we get hurt by men so many times because we don't know. We were naive. We were desperate for love, and we would do anything for the requirement of men, and not knowing that we've been exploited by them.
Yes.
So having this resource, please explain more about how important this resource for especially for trans women.
Yes, definitely. This resource is very important. Again, like you just stated, that as trans women, we get objectified, whether sexually, especially as sex workers.
Yes.
And so that's carried through into personal relationships, and men feel the need that they can become dominant, controlling, abusive, and so we're always left in vulnerable situations. And of course, like all we want is to be loved.
Yes.
As well. And so navigating relationships, and it is and the same for men, because they get stigmatized as well, and the shame culturally through family, friends, and the patriarchy. So we just decided, we were hanging out one day.
So you and Star Lady.
Yeah, Star Lady and I were hanging out one day at my place, and we were just so distressed about not being able to date in Alice Springs.
Okay, was it lack of men or?
A lack of good men.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
and so, and again, lots of beautiful men, but they were friends. So after spending a couple of years doing advocacy work and not dating, Star Lady and I were talking about it and go, wouldn't this be amazing to put a resource together about all these issues? And my solution to that at the time was to go back to sex work.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I can't even give it away here, so I might as well get paid for it. And I started working for myself as well as a sex worker, which was very satisfying.
Yes.
But then and again, they were just thoughts, and then when we came back to Melbourne and developed and got Zoe Belle Gender Collective back up and running, it's about 3 years ago now, Star and I said, it's time to create this resource. And so we started working towards creating that, and that was it's been about 2 years.
Yeah, and the crew keep growing.
Oh, continuously.
Yes, and you know what? A great feedback for sometimes I do some panels or some workshop. Some moms come up to me and said, my daughter actually is assessing Transfemme because she just broke up with boyfriend a few weeks ago and she's just feeling down. So I said, oh my God, that is amazing that someone is actually assessing our website.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, and that's what it's for. And it's like finally we felt that we had to be able to put out the resources and the information, and true real information as well, by stories by trans women and their experiences, and men that date trans women and their experiences, and the negatives and positives of both sides of relationships as well. So, and again, because that stigma of being fetishized,
objectified,
the porn routine, that we're all porn queens, and we like to be slapped around and like it hard. It's like, well, actually, no. So respect. Yeah. So that's what the resource is
and
about.
Also, we teach public about consent too.
Yes. Definitely. Number one.
Yeah, that's number one.
It's like we all do whatever you do.
Whatever you like, we don't care.
Yeah.
But consent.
Consent first.
It has to be consensual.
Yes, and that's again a big part of the resource is to be able to put it out, and for people to access it at their leisure, privately as well, and work out where they fit in, and to give them some peace of mind and understanding
Yeah.
and what is real and what isn't
Correct.
in relationships, especially when it comes to trans women that are sex workers or in the porn industry or are into...
Or OnlyFans.
Yes, that's right.
That's the new. That's the new sex work now. It's
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm still old school and I'm just learning.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, so...
Yeah. So Georgie, intersex people have endured so much from the medical system, non-consensual interventions, being, protected from knowledge of the agency over them, their own bodies.
Yeah.
So, but intersex-led orgs have organized to change this. So, can you tell us a bit about the history of the intersex movement as you know it?
Okay. And again, I got involved. I didn't personally, I'm biologically intersex, and as a teenager, because of the whole patriarchal government and medical system, to this day, I was put through medical invasive procedures and invasive surgery from the ages of 13 to 17 to reconstruct me as a man.
Yeah.
Because I was female.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the family father thing where that started. And so, but we didn't know anything about what intersex was in my
your time
in the early days. And when I went to Sydney to live the high life and fully transition away from family and medical because of the laws as well, I hit the cross, Teresa's house, transitioned fully, got back into sex work and whatever else, and then the sign of the times as well was about trans women having gender reassignment, and we were all led to believe that's what we had to do medically and with laws as well. So of course we all went through 2 years of psychiatry, got told that we needed to be real women to perform, and then I was approved for the surgery. Had some tests before the surgery. I was going to have the surgery.
So is there like a process that you have to apply for to be approved for that surgery?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 years of psychiatry.
2 years?
2 years back in the day.
Right.
That was in the mid 1980s.
Yes.
It was 2 years minimum psychiatry of before you could be passed to have the surgery by psychologists.
And then what happened?
Medical professions.
Yeah.
And so I had tests done. I was called in before surgery, and I was told by the doctor that anomalies came up in my tests and that I was intersex. And I've never heard of that before. So explained, and then the penny dropped. And I was like, so then I was 30 then, and then so my whole life flashed before me, realising what was going on with what was happening with family, invasive surgery, the reasons why, my state of being, mind, my body as well. So when I realised that I was intersex, I declined the surgery. Because I like what I got.
Yes.
And again, it was like being coerced into believing.
Embracing for who you are.
Yeah, totally. And so I refused surgery, flipped again, and came back to Melbourne, started my life again as a trans intersex.
Do you think the law has changed now? I mean, when, in the past, intersex kids, the parents will decide for them when they are kids to have the surgery. Do you think the law has changed now?
No, not from what I know. I worked with IHRA, Intersex Human Rights Australia, for a few years, again on the Darlington State, to help change the laws around invasive surgery. And in the day they were calling it normalising surgery. To normalise us to be abnormal.
Right.
So the normalising surgery messed up my biology, and so I've had to suffer and till the rest of my life with taking medications and hormones to try to balance me out, and that's why I appear as well masculinized as well. and non-binary. So, and the laws have been changed legally,
Okay.
but through the doctors, and it was then with my family, because this is what my mother and father experienced with me,
Yes.
and they still do now as well in the hospitals, that if a child is born intersex at birth, that the doctors will talk, and because the parents are vulnerable, they don't know what's going on, they don't really know what intersex is either, and the doctors will convince the parents
Okay.
that your child needs to have normalising surgery
Right.
to fit in. And so the parents out of panic and fear, and of course doctor knows best, so the parents go along with it.
Yeah.
And statistically a lot of us end up being constantly misgendered, physically misgendered.
Okay.
Yeah, it just messes up with the biology and with the parents as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
because then they feel guilty later.
Of course. Yeah. And what can LGBT community members do better to support our intersex siblings?
They can do lots.
Okay.
Lots
Can you
of
name
things.
like maybe
Well,
two or three?
we only got put into the acronym
Acronym. Yeah.
in 2018 at a World Conference in Sydney. So
The Human Rights Conference.
Yes, it was the first time our intersex group was invited to go to the conference,
Right.
to be included as part of the LGBT community for the first time. And so we spent a weekend talking and coordinating with all the queer communities to work out whether we should be accepted or we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so we came
To conclusion.
yes.
And then what was the win? Was it a win?
Of course it was.
Yay!
Definitely, it
Yeah.
was. So we were thrown in with the acronym as well,
Okay.
and accepted as part of the community openly.
Yes.
And it was also the conference was the same time of Pride as well. So and it was also the first time that the intersex group was invited to be part of the Pride
Oh, okay. So for the march.
for the march.
Okay. So do you
as well.
think
So two firsts.
Okay, good. So from that onwards, intersex group has been included with the LGBT community, yeah.
Yes.
So which is good. So
Yeah,
is
it's
there
great.
anything more that they can do, like we can support, like with the LGBT
Yes.
community?
Well, yeah, because we need to be more visible
Yes.
as well. We're still sitting, like the last cab off
There's
the
a
rank.
lot of stigma as well,
Yeah,
and
still.
shame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we also have issues as co-identifying as a trans intersex woman. There's also stigma with some of the trans community as a woman that, through my experience, that at times because biologically I'm seen as the real woman type routine, and that's not the case at all. So I'm a proud trans woman as well.
Fabulous. Alright, you know what? Besides being fabulous, what is the future of Georgie Yovanovic?
I do what I do, and this is what I do. This is my life. I'm.
You enjoy doing what you do?
Yes, I'm passionate about what I do. I don't just do it for a living or for money. I do it because it's something that needs to be done. It's been part of my life from an early age, and these are issues that I'm passionate about because they affect me. And if they affect me, they affect my sisters and my community. And I'm like, shove over, because we exist, here we are, and we are going to make ourselves visible. And if we need to scream the house down, which we like to do,
every now and then, yes.
that's what we do. So yeah, I'm very passionate about what I do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Georgie, for being on Trans Fabulous. And
Thank you.
all the best to all your work, and thank you for your service. And looking forward to working with you more in the future, and of course, party more and being fabulous with you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. To our viewers, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again next time.
So
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.